And good evening and welcome to episode 34 of Endless Banter. This show shouldn't really be going ahead because I know for a fact every single one of us sat here is absolutely fucked still. Everyone is definitely fucked. So, boys, we are joined by Mr. PH tonight. He's having a little party, a little rendezvous with the kids. It's Halloween, so it's real life. So if you hear kids screaming around, it's your own fault. So, yeah. And we're also joined by Mr. Kevin Lester. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
So start with you, Mr. PH. What have you had to see? How's your week been so far? And you've definitely had a bag of fucking sweets already.
Mate, I'm kind of shit. For tea, I've had sweets and drink and hot dogs and crap, and I feel fucked. I'm vaping on mobility with Kevin Lester's bridge.
Rob!
With a Sport BB3 and some Vampire like bloodsucker.
And how's your week been so far? Are you back to normal?
Nah, I'm back to work tomorrow, mate. I should have booked the fucking month off. The whole of November.
Are you feeling rough? Because I'm feeling rough. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Monday, I'm not fucking shit. Yesterday we went out shop. What?
Let's have a look. What, are you leaving? You going upstairs?
Which one?
He's running off from the kids.
Paul's like, fucking the noise it gets. I'm up upstairs.
It's too.
Leave your bed.
Where?
Wi-Fi's on point tonight, Paul. As I say that, he crashes. Here's his back now. He's going to a different wing. He's going on to B. He's going on to B wing, so it's Wi-Fi's a bit shit on B wing.
Yeah, it's not great by the look of it, is it?
Definitely going on to B wing. Mate, have you seen him on Z wing, mate? No connection whatsoever.
That's when he don't want to talk to anyone, just goes to Z wing out the way.
Z wing I go, fuck the lot of years, come out of here. So Kev, while Paul's getting his connection set up and that, what are you vaping? What are you having tea? I know you've just eaten. And how's your week been so far?
What I've had for tea, I was just eating pizza, what I've not finished yet, just to come on here. My week has been tiring after a very busy expo weekend. Very good to meet a lot of new people, see the expo from a different standpoint of view. Vaping wise, I'm on a billet box with some salt, and I'm also on my Ellie Emperor.
Hey, what was your honest thought when you saw them? Because obviously I never saw them till the show, like yourself, and I saw the pictures and I was like, the pictures are fire, but I personally don't think it showed off how nice the finish is on them.
No, you couldn't see all the detail of the product in the photos. Obviously on where the mod widens from where it dips in the middle, it's got like the brass ring, what offsets the color really nicely.
Yeah.
As it carries on the brass through the mod instead of just being one solid sort of color. So yeah, it does make it stand out, and it gives it that glimmer as well. When you look at it, it gives it that shine of glimmer through the brass.
Yeah, it's lovely. So I want to say hello to everybody in chat. Paul has obviously crashed out. He's left us. Paul may return, he may not return. He's currently at a party enjoying the kids for the holidays. It's obviously Halloween tonight, so I'm sure that we're not going to have mass amounts of viewers because people will be out with their kids trick-or-treating or whatever. So if Paul's not coming back, that's fine. If he does pop back in, that's amazing. So I just want to say hello to everybody tonight. Paul's just sent me a message saying send me another link.
You get that hooked up. Let's read a couple of comments. Iffy, isn't he?
Thinks you're expecting an Halloween special. Didn't you get enough of our ugly faces on the weekend?
She's got a Halloween special. She's looking at me. There's enough Halloween enough for her in it.
We just told everybody you had to go to B-Wing, mate, to get some connection.
Hey. I'm crossing on a staircase.
We'll get you in and out if you're chilling on the staircase. We don't want none of that. We want you to go enjoy your night. I did tell everybody, let everyone know that I did tell Paul not to come on. I could have a replacement for him so he could go chill, but he's loyal like that, so he said he'd come in and do the show with us. So just mentioning the Mervyn Cho limited editions and how the pictures didn't show any justification to what they actually looked in real life. Obviously, you saw them a couple of days before, Paul. But me and Kev saw them at the show and we're saying how they didn't really show off how fucking nice there was on pictures.
I can't hear what the fuck you're saying. Have you heard these cunts here? You know what? They were on point, to be fair. They've done a wicked job of them. Mervyn had seriously.
Go enjoy the party. Get your set off.
Is that better?
That's all right, yeah.
Yeah, the finish on them were definitely the best mods we've ever had finished.
Yeah, they were beautiful. I think they took a lot of people by sort of surprise when they saw them because they literally flew off the shelf. They really did. I know we've got a few that we're going to be putting on the website. I'm going to be doing in the morning. So if you're wanting to pick one up and you wasn't lucky enough to go to the show, they will be on the website tomorrow. Yeah, they really did fly off the shelf at the show. People loved them. What I also liked about it as well is I'm sort of leaning into Expo and stuff. There was a lot of people that I've never seen Endless before. We saw a lot of new people at the show, and a lot of people that hadn't seen Endless saw these mods and were like, "Fucking hell, these are something." And the amount of people I served and spoke to that were new faces was unreal.
Yeah,
and I think that showed in the show as well, because that vibe in that expo was, for me, the vibe of an expo 2 or 3 or 4 events ago.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was one of the main points we were saying about the show itself being a very old school vibe. Obviously, touching on sort of me. I was on the Thursday. I said to you, I don't know what it is, but there's something about this vibe of this show, and I thought it was weird. And I said to you, I don't know what I'm thinking about this show. I don't know whether it's going to be really good or what's going to be about it. And then obviously it came to Friday. It was quite mellow. You know, in May we was at the entrance. Before that we was quite close to the entrance. You know, we was in a different spot. And to be honest, we was quite hidden. To be realistic, we was quite hidden where we was. And a lot of people actually came and found us. You know, a lot of people was like, we didn't know where he was. You know what I mean? There wasn't anything apart from the number 10 above when we said, yeah, we're trying to find us, you're at number 10. Obviously, the blimp didn't go up. Anybody was disappointed about the blimp? Yes, we tried, but the blimp didn't go up.
Failed miserably.
We were so gutty when it didn't go up, though. Proper gutted. Like I just wanted to see it up there. It'd be really cool. But I wouldn't say it was a fail. It was a learning experience. It was definitely a learning experience.
Bad failure. Let's be honest.
It's all right, because if you go past Yardley, there might be the blimp up there in a couple of weeks. If you go past the Yardley shop, a few weeks, there might be a blimp up in the sky. So yeah, keep your eyes open for that. But we're going to do like a rundown on the show. I've looked for news this week, see if we could break up the show a little bit. There's not really much news, but we'll cover Expo while Paul's here. So we'll start with you, Paul. Obviously, your expectations for the show, we don't really have an expectation every time we go. But what was your vibe about the show? What did you think about it? Do you think the show, was it? I'm not saying it was a success for us, for obviously business. I'm saying, was it a success as in the vibe of the show? Do you think it was a lot different? Do you think there was a lot of new faces? What's your rundown on the show and what you enjoyed about it?
You know what? I actually I had some concerns the last few weeks leading up to it, only because there wasn't much hype at all about anything to do with Expo. Am I still there?
Yeah, you can hear.
Yeah.
So I had some reservations because it weren't really hyped on social media at all. Even you and I never went live giving away any tickets or fuck all. But I just felt like it was going to be a decent one, and it was. I was pleased to say, business-wise, we had a good weekend. The atmosphere in the whole of the place was good. I think generally the mix of it's always going to be a juice fest. Whatever way you look at it, it's always going to be more juice than anything else. That said, I think if you walked around that place, there was quite a lot of hardware vendors in there. CBD didn't seem to be as prominent as it was in May earlier on in the year, so that was a plus for obviously the CBD vendors in there. There was more pod systems than you could shake a fucking stick at, which is just the way that the nature of the business is going. But I think I've seen mixed reviews since I've come back. I've seen people saying I heard it was shit because they weren't giving free stuff away, and I just think, go fuck yourself, you pokey tramp. I mean, you know what, mate? It's shocking to think that is someone's expectation of an expo. I've seen other people saying it was a wicked event. I've seen other people saying it was shit. I've seen some people say, look, one of the other criticisms that people had was that some of the Chinese vendors weren't selling to the public. Now, obviously, from the Chinese's point of view, they are there purely for Friday.
Yeah.
They sit there Saturday and Sunday because they're paid to be there for the weekend. But the reality is they're there for Friday. They're there for business to business, probably from a lot of people that are already at the expo vending. So on that basis, it is what it is. I mean, I've spoke to Jay Cox earlier on. I've just been looking at the floor plan from May. Yeah, we had a good weekend. I loved the weekend personally. I felt rough as fuck on Sunday. Banter on Saturday was wicked. The vibe in the place was good. The music Friday was for me a proper B2B day.
Yeah,
it was nice and chilled. There weren't no they put an announcement out over the microphone at 9:30 saying, or 9:15 saying that any vendors taking the piss with music will have the electric cut off. And for me, we had an opportunity on Friday to sit down with customers and talk about what we talk about. It's what our Friday is for as well. So for me, all round good weekend actually.
100%. It's obviously the negative feedback and stuff like that. Obviously from the show, a lot of it, as you've already mentioned, it was obviously people complaining about not enough free shit. I felt like the vibe of the show didn't have that free shit vibe. You know, even obviously you've got the stage and people throwing out and stuff like that, but the show itself didn't have it. You know, there was a few old heads there, you know, a few of we would class as OGs that we saw there, but it was very much new faces. And I think the standard we set for that show was very much, it's not about free shit, it's about learning about new product. And
I said in May after we done our Banter after May show that there was a huge amount of new faces in May. And when I spoke to Jay on Friday at the show, he said that about 60% of all ticket sales was to brand new people. For me, the free shit thing is something that will ultimately disappear. It will go, and if you think about the first time we ever attended these big vape events, and you got the likes of Cutwood and all them American companies throwing out thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of shit, they set the tone for what all the UK vendors felt they should be doing at these expos.
Yeah.
And actually, Cutwood vended at this event just gone. It's the first time they've done it in the last 3 shows. And Cutwood aren't throwing out there. I think everyone's whole approach and ethos about this business is something different than it was 4 and 5 years ago when expos first started and free shit was thrown out. And then for them following 3 or 4 years, you've got the same people going back expecting free stuff.
Yeah.
The people that's gone to this event this weekend that have never been to an event before, yes, there was stuff getting thrown out on stage. We give away stuff on stage. vendors were still giving away stuff, but the way that they do it is not the same way they were doing it 3 years ago. And on that basis, it sets the tone for the people that go back in May. They're not expecting it. First time I ever went to an expo, I could not believe the amount of, bearing more and more shops fucking 5 mile from NEC. They were throwing out more stock than what we had in the shop. Like literally, it was like crazy. I could not get my head around it. And I think, surely to God, I don't need to count that down. Yeah, I just think the people that this is a new event for in October, they've got a different expectation now for May. I mean, I think May's show next year should be a good show. Because we've got the new people from May. They came again in October with a lot more new people. They'll come back in May with more new people. And actually, all the old faces that I've seen walking around were walking around. None of them were particularly on stands. None of them were using fucking mad tubes. Most of them, I bumped into Ollie Deeks, who was on an 18350 mech with a 0.8 motor lung build in it. I bumped into Bones, who was, I don't even think he had a vape in his hand. I'm sure he was vaping something. But them boys used to be bowling around with tubes and doing what they've done. And I don't know, I feel like there's a tube revival somewhere over the next 6 to 8 months or whatever.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's coming nowhere near what like the OGs. I think it's all the new crowd. It's, you know, these people are learning. They're coming to these shows and they're learning stuff. You know, I've seen a few comments saying I came to the show. This was my first show. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect, but I learned a lot. And to me, rather than just going and just being expecting whatever, well, let's be realistic. They're going to their first show. There's no expectations whatsoever. So there isn't the expectation of free shit every stand you go to. You know, it's, we say these shows obviously is about making money. It's about a business, but it's also about reviving and keeping this scene alive with new faces and giving these experience to these vapors. You know, and a lot of people were new faces, and it was nice to see new faces because it's proving to us as an industry that it is still growing and people are just learning about these shows.
You know what? I've seen it about probably a dozen times. People saying that they've bought their first mech at the show, and most of the ones that I've seen were endless. And I'd imagine that these are people that have joined the journey on a 200 watt regulated device. And these are the new. This is what my status was about the other day. Firstly, I got sent 2 screenshots since I've come back from the person that isn't on my friends list. They're blocked, and I don't particularly. I've got no care about what they've got to say. But the first one I read it, and it was about basically saying that all this new generation of vapor is what's ruined this industry, and I was just a bit like, actually, it's people with your fucked up attitude is what's ruined this industry, and I mean that. That's nothing to do with the fact that we don't speak. It's just to do with the fact that why, who cannot get to grips with the fact that times change, people move on, things move on, and shit evolves. And whether you like the fact that someone started their vaping experience on a smock alien or not, the reality is that's probably 70% of the vapors in the last 18 years. Yeah. And then people either can keep doing that, or us as vendors and the OG people doing that thing can either just stand back and let them do what they're doing, or we can try and revive a movement we helped create the first time around. And I still believe that because of our attitudes, our attitude sort of is that I'm trying to think the best way to explain. The 3 of us sat here tonight, we're all very experienced vapors, and we all went through that learning curve of not having the shit to having everything, and building mechs and drilling out post holes and drilling out airflow and creating something that wasn't available off the shelf. And we got to a point where everything that you ever wanted in any device is available off the shelf. I've said it before, for me, the introduction of sub-ohm vaping out of the box via regulated and pre-made cores, at the time, excited me, and it gave us an opportunity to sell product to inexperienced vapers and give them the option to blow clouds and experience better flavour than they'd ever experienced. And actually, in a 3-year period, it's helped to destroy isn't the right word, but it's certainly, but for me, been the biggest factor in the breakdown of the community in inverted commas. And that's because they don't need to talk to each other.
Mm.
They don't need to discuss football. They take the coil out of the packet, they screw it into the tank, they put their 80-20 liquid in, they crank the mod up to 200 watts or 80 watts or 120 watts or whatever their preferred choice is, and they vape on it. But we used to get excited about the fact that an RDA come out, you could get 22 gauge wiring and do a parallel build, and you didn't have to draw the fucker out.
Yeah.
We got excited about the fact that Samsung 25R became available, and it had a 25 amp pulse rating. We got excited when the VCT5A come out and became available because it got a 30 amp pulse rating. Actually, these people don't even know what the fucking difference is. They ain't got a clue. Do they need to know the way that they vape? No. But actually, the only way that we can change it is by me using a tube, by you using a tube, by Kevin using a tube, and by all these OG people that aren't using tubes. I spoke to Bradley Sonics, Bradley Jojo Sonics.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, and this is no, I'm not talking bad of Daniel Littleworth at all. Considering he was the man behind Flatwire, which was the original cloud chasing company for wire. Over the week leading up to Expo, I've seen quite anti-Expo comments off Daniel on lots of statuses, lots of comments. Oh, it's just a fucking juice fest. It's just this. It's just that. And I was saying to Bradley that when you've got the old school talking about the industry in that way, how do you expect the new school to take a grasp of anything and run with it? Because they don't. And then it seems that as the industry moves on, a lot of the OG people are a bit, they seem anti-industry.
Yeah.
Even the comments that I've seen on that screenshot, to me, it just stunk of bitterness. And it's a bit like, well, I'm not in the same position I was in this time last year. Therefore, anyone that's striving to be in a position of promoting, being sponsored, being ambassadors, whatever you want to call these people, just because someone's took ahead of you doesn't mean that it's now no longer a thing. It just means you're no longer a thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They're not embracing the new wave. They're not.
Mate, at the end of the day, there's people that claim to be the innovators in this industry. And some of them people have never innovated football. Yeah. Literally, they've not innovated nothing. They've had the right face at the right time in the right group, the right company promoting the right product, and it took them on a journey that had they have been in a different place at the same time, they would never have gone in that journey. There's other people that have literally, and I'm not blowing smoke up my own arse. I've done what I've done from day one. I've never changed what I've done. I've never changed the way that I do it. It's about promoting my business. It's about promoting my products. It's about promoting whether it's safety. It's just about me being me. I've always done that. I've done that right from the start, and there's lots of people that have. There's other people that came into this, realised there was a bit of a cash cow to be had off it. They've exhausted the cash cow, and now all of a sudden they're saying that it's a load of bollocks and it's not worthy of anyone's time and it's a load of shit and it shouldn't be done. And the reality is it's still a massively growing industry, massively. But the attitude of the people that are out there on Facebook as the leaders, the originals, whatever you want to call us, and us being everyone in this room, everyone that has, or 90% of mech addiction, 90% of mech life, 90% of UK vape trade. You look at UK vape deals, that's a whole new generation of people right there. You go on to mech addiction, and you've got a 90% old school vaping people, and there's lots of breakup groups from them groups, where they've got their own little cliques, and that's because they form friendships, and it became more about friendship than the vaping. But there's still a lot to be had out of this industry, and I think any post-expo banter, I'm always riding a little bit of an optimism wave, which is there is still something left to be had out of this. Now, the reality is you walk around Expo, and from an absolute business point of view, what we will get out of this every time I go to an expo makes me realise we're one step closer to being controlled by big tobacco. However, you get down to the nuts and bolts of the niche market of mech, of building, and all that malarkey, and it doesn't matter what big tobacco are doing. In 10 years' time, there'll always be that niche of people doing that thing.
Yeah.
If we want them to, if we allow them to, and if we don't, it's no good sitting there moaning in 3 years saying, fuck me, no one even uses a mech anymore, because it's only us that can pave that way and drag people along with us on that journey. That's just me being thoughtful. I've done a lot of thinking since the weekend, and I believe that we can get lots of people. I put a post up last night asking about brand ambassadors and about building a team. And this isn't genuinely, it's not about me just spamming the fucking whole of the internet with endless, because that happens on the daily anyway. I've got people out there doing that for me, and I haven't even asked them. I don't pay them. They're not employed by me. They just do what they do. But actually, can we create a core community of people that actually are loyal, not only to my brand? I mean, me and Kevin have had a discussion about Kevin being, and I'm using the word, I don't even know if ambassador is the right word. I don't like the term sponsor, because for me, it undermines everything that then people do for us as a business if they're sponsored, because straight away people are going, oh, you're only saying that because you're sponsored.
Yeah, 100%.
For me, it's about being ambassadors of not only the brands that we do as a business, but also about the community. And I don't want no one on the team that is a fucking snidey two-faced cunt. I don't want someone on the team that is actively trying to get 950 sponsors, because they're not doing the things for the right reason. I spoke to Kevin last night, and he says, I'm interested. However, I am sponsored by other companies. Now, in the past, one of our terms of sponsorship was, and we've never had a huge amount of sponsors, because it's not something that I ever particularly wanted to do. But one of the things was they were sort of exclusive to us, our brands, our company, our shop. And actually, that's not so important to me anymore, because it's not just about saying shady vaping, endless mods, build and wire, AF juice, fucking whatever. It's actually about getting people together that are like-minded, that are old school or new school, that understand that there's more to this than just the route that big tobacco will take this industry.
It's more about keeping that community, isn't it? Keeping that community spirit, teaching people if they want to learn. It's passing that knowledge on, because obviously, like you said before, if there's no one who passes the knowledge on of what we've learned ourselves, if no one passes that information on, then it's not going to go anywhere. So having a group of people to pass that information on will keep the brand going. It'll also keep, obviously, everyone trying new things without having just to go for a regulated device what uses a stock coil, and that's all they ever know, because they've not been taught any different.
So you know what, Kevin? I said a few weeks ago, a few months ago, I don't even know how long ago, and it was sort of when Tom and I were talking off screen and on screen about how do you revive that community buzz that was there 2 years ago, and probably between 3 years ago, and then the following 12 months, we were riding the biggest evolution in this industry that we'll ever see. We'll never see that same evolution again, regardless of what products come out, because exponentially, as you go up that ladder, everything's been done. The only things now that will revolutionise our industry is something that is absolutely groundbreaking technology that none of us have seen, and more excites some of us. Generally, regardless of a post configuration on a deck, regardless of a 22mm mod or a 34mm mod, regardless of a regulated 80 watt or a regulated 300 watt, they're all out there in some shape or form, in many shapes and forms.
Yes.
But one thing that I'm guilty of and if I'm guilty of it, lots of people are guilty of it, is you see the man who's just got his Smock Alien and his TVF 12 Baby Beast or whatever he's got, and he says, fucking, I've just got this new mod and the flavour is the best fucking flavour you'll ever get. We look at that and go, you prick. You ain't got a fucking clue. No, you know what I mean? I'm not even like actively slating him, but I know I see posts and think, mate, you ain't got a fucking clue. You've opened your box, you've set up your tank, you've set up your fucking mod, you threw your liquid in there. But then if I take myself back 5 years ago, when I went from a CE4 disposable to a mini pro tank with a dual bottom coil, it was the best flavour that I'd ever had.
Yeah.
Then when I went to a Nautilus, it was the best flavour I ever had. When I went to a Nautilus Mini, it was the best flavour I ever had. And every journey, every step I took along that journey improved my vaping experience. But the other thing was everyone else's experience was improving at the same time. So they'd talk about it, and some people would say, no, I still prefer the Kangatech Pro Tank 2 or the Aero Tank, or nah, definitely the Aspire Nautilus is the best. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't think the Aspire Nautilus core's ever been particularly good for flavour. That's my person, and that's someone who vapes fucking straight menthol. So actually, normally, it doesn't matter what I was vaping on, it tastes fucking menthol.
Yeah.
When I went to the Mini Nautilus, the flavour improved massively with that vertical coil. For me personally, that was my experience of it. And now when I'm using the AO, apart from I'm using the Billy Box because I've now turned into a full-on vape snob, and I shall no longer be selling clones in the shop. And I'm only joking. Actually, the AO, the Joytech AO for me is one of the best flavours I've experienced because it's that top airflow. The coil is right underneath the mouthpiece. There's no chimney. Therefore, it has to improve the flavour. There's still people that claim that a Nautilus is still the best flavour out there for mouth to lung. And actually, you vape a standard OG Nautilus tank now, and they're pretty shit. Yeah. The coil's good. The coil lasts. It does its job. But there's lots and lots and lots of mouth to lung devices out there that are particularly improved on what we were using 4 years ago. But when I see someone push that thing about being the best thing that's available, there's so many people that are quick to jump on them and say, don't be such a prick, man. You need to get yourself a dripper. No, actually, what we would do 3 years ago is say, mate, they're good, but have you tried dripping?
Yeah.
So everyone now, their first line of communication isn't one of. There's still actually a massive journey for you to go on here, mate. That's not the first response. The first response is don't be such a cock. They're fucking shit. They leak. Fucking Smock is crap. Smock is this. Smock is that. Smock single-handedly have probably got more people off cigarettes than any other company in the world because of their shit devices.
Yeah.
And it's like we need to reset our mindset in order to carry this new generation of vapers to a place we feel they should be going. That's the only way that I can sort of round up what I'm rambling on about, really. I just feel like we've all lost our way. And then we've all lost our way. So then it's difficult to... They're left to their own devices. They will find their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we're sitting there with our teeth itching at the path they're choosing to take, but we're not choosing to go and hold their hand and take them down a path that's probably better for them. We've just got this whole, well, if you think you know better than us. And actually, this is me sort of really thinking out loud, and it's a lot of thought process going on from the weekend and following on from my status the other day, which was times change, people move on, situations change, products change, the attitude of the consumers changed, and it's changed massively, and that's patently obvious when you go onto the likes of UK vape deals and you've got what's considered newcomers asking where they can get cheap juice from because they're sick of paying £12 for 100 millilitres. Now, for us three sat here, we all sit there scratching our heads going, are you taking the absolute piss? But the reality is, they are the foundation of where the next 2 years is going to be. And over that 2 years, newcomers will join. We will be the foundation of the following 2 years thereafter. That,
yeah.
It's only us that can change it. Only us. And I just thought, you know what, if we can get a team of people together that have got this same drive and determination to help people on whatever level that, you know what, mate, I feel like I've lost my way, or Shady Vaping's way, on the basis that our ethos was always, we will help people advance on from whatever level they're on. So if they were mouth to lung vaping on a disposable, it was never our objective to push them onto something else. And if they were sub-ohming on a tank and they didn't want to go rebuildable, then we'd let them try different tanks and different coils and different liquids and explain that sometimes you're better off dropping your wattage and shutting your airflow down than you are opening your airflow fully and smashing the wattage up.
110%.
You want out of a device. And actually now it's all to me, the whole industry, or the fundamentals of the industry is in shit because of us, because of what we do, because of the way we advocate our own fucking industry. And I'm not talking about advocating the benefits of vaping over smoking. I'm just talking about advocating the benefits of vaping over vaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have lost our way, and the education for me, all the way through that, I was thinking education. That is literally what we've lost, and us as sort of being the forefront of the industry and having these people jumping in and finding vaping and wanting to do their journey. The education side of it has been lost because, as you say, you just plug and play now, and people are like, "Yeah, you can do this, yeah, you can do that," and then I think to myself, you're also right in the fact that people turn around and go, well, we don't give out advice because people to themselves go, well, I already know what I'm fucking doing. I get on with it. But then we sit back and go, all right, just leave it to it. But we should really be at the forefront saying, well, this is the journey we took. This is what we had to do for you to learn what's going on now and how easy it is for the product you're purchasing. So why don't you sort of follow the way of that? And that racks my head, where the fact is that we need to educate, but it's people wanting to be educated.
Yeah, you know what, mate? I think the thing for me is twice in the last 24 hours, I've seen posts where someone said, I've gone over to Rebuildable, over to Mech, or one of them was a Mech tube with an RDA, one of them was a regulated mod with an RDA. Now, for me, but both of them steps in that direction are as important as each other. You can always, when I personally first started using RDA, we was on the boom of an 80, 100, 120 watt regulated mod craze. We'd already gone from 30 to 50 to 70 to 80 to 90 to 100 to 120. But when I first started using RDAs on regulated, I had 120 watts. And my journey was really about me understanding Ohm's law with the safety of a regulated mod in my hand. And sort of knowing in the background that if this goes tits up, the mod's there to protect me in the middle.
Yeah.
And if I blew that mod up, and I did fuck a couple of mods up doing stupid things with them that I didn't really understand, I didn't go marching back into the shop and say, fucking hell, these mods are shit. I actually got onto YouTube and I started watching videos and learning and understanding what I'd done wrong, how I'd done it. The first RDA I ever built was on a 30 watt DNA. Now, in my head, I'd been using about 0.15, 0.18 on a mech mod. That was pretty much the boundary for me personally. There was people venturing down towards 0.1 and they were being abused all over the internet for being absolutely stupid and not knowing what they were doing. And I couldn't understand why this 30 watt mod was absolutely useless with a 0.15 build on. And it took me 24, 48 hours to realise I need to get the build up to about 0.3, 0.35, 0.4. And I need to take advantage of the volts because even at 30 watts and that build, I'm only pulling 3.1 volts out this fucking battery.
Yeah.
And actually, I had a WhatsApp message off Sheikh Farhan from Signature Tips, who'd also had one of these 30 watt DNAs off me. And he was like, mate, these are shit. And I was like, you know what? I've cracked it. We need to go up on the ohms considerably until we've got to a point where we're getting that mod was capable of discharging 5.5 volts. We need to get to the point where the ohmage of that device is running and enabled the battery to run at 5.5 volts. Mate, I was using a clone Dark Horse RDA on a 30 watt DNA with a 0.4 28 gauge Cantham quad build in it. And I was chucking a cloud that I'd be proud to do today.
Yeah.
Because actually everything about that mod, the RDA, the build, all worked. And what we do now is, in the last 24 hours, I've seen two people post, one saying, I've just bought my first RDA, and it was on a regulated, one saying, I've just bought my first RDA and mech. What's the best build for this? Out of, I would say 20 out of every 21 comments was someone saying, why the fucking hell would you be using that? And actually, you go back 3 years ago, and people would say, "I've just bought this. What should I use?" 20 out of 21 comments would be at that time 2.5 mil, mate, 2.5 mil bit, some 24 or 26 gauge canthals. You wanted to be a brave cunt, parallel some 26 gauge and head down towards the 0.17, 0.15 mark. Everyone's just like jumping on everyone because they all feel like they're vape gurus. And the truth of it is, the knowledge that's out there in the masses now is fucking limited, and it's limited because they don't. If they come into our shop and buy the Q6 core for the TVF8 that's a 0.12 core, and then they use that for 6 weeks, and then they come in and we haven't got one, so we give them the dual core that's 0.22. They don't adjust their wattage. But they fucking should do. And if they understood it, they would do, because they turn the current down.
Yeah.
They don't need that same amount of power. And it's them things. Like I learned that just by messing fucking doing and then understanding how Ohm's law works. I can remember Kevin buying the triple stack at the Expo probably 4 or 5 events ago. And then I remember Kevin was running about 0.4 or something kind of triple stacked. And I was like going, "Nah, you fucking mad cunt." And he was like saying, "No, because look, if you do that, and that, it's actually only pulling 17 amps from the battery or something." And even though that was way too warm for me personally on a triple, the fact that he bammed that off the top of his head, I remember saying to someone later that day, "Nah, Kevin, I was running about 0.7 on mine." And someone says, "Oh, what's it vape like?" And I was like, "Perfect for me," because I'd set my triple up for the event. Kevin come and bought a triple just because he wanted a fucking triple stacked. And I remember he went off, built it, come back, and he was fucking showing me, and we were fucking about on the mods and that. I remember saying to someone that day, "I'm at 0.7. Kevin Lester's running as a 0.4 or something, or 0.38 or whatever it was." I know it was quite low for what, even it's still lower than what I'd run on a triple now because it's still too warm for me.
Yeah.
And they were going fucking 0.38. And I was like, "Yeah, but actually the amperage pull on the battery is way within its limits. It's safer than a 0.1 on a single." And yet at that point, then 0.1 was considered safe. People were advocating cloud comps at 0.1 on a battery that was pulling 40 amps on a 20 amp battery.
It was originally with the HE4 batteries, wasn't it? Because I got the batteries off you as well. And if I can remember rightly, the HE4s were about 30 amp batteries. They didn't last very long in obviously milliampage, but obviously they would hit well. And that is why you had that ability to go down to that sort of build, get some serious clouded. That's what I wanted from it. I wanted a quick cloud without having to sit and suck on it for 10 minutes to get a cloud from it.
Now, the thing is, Kevin, I can remember around that time, probably 3 or 4 months before that, Steve Dorrington was doing some very, very low builds. He was running at 0.06, 0.05, 0.04 in some cases. And he was advocating. I can remember seeing a post from Steve Doran saying all these people fucking shitting themselves about fucking more builds. HE4 is good for 100 amp pulse. It's been tested at pulse. It'll like split pulse at 100 amp. The reality is, I've run 0.07 and did as a standard single build for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And my mod got hotter with a 0.1 build on it than it did with a 0.07 on it, because it was burst. It was short, like you just said, it was very short drag.
Yeah.
Had a nice, warm, deep, dense, fucking thick vape, and I blew it out, and then that was me, and I'd have another couple. When I went to a 0.1, I was taking much longer drags. I'm out of the pulse zone of the battery, and I'm into the fucking continuous zone of the battery.
Yeah.
It's putting a lot more draw and strain on the battery. The mod gets a lot warmer. And actually, again, it's that thing of knowledge is power, in my opinion. It's not about understanding the be-all and end-all of Ohm's law, but it's understanding that if I was using a mod and it was hot, I knew it was hot because of the build that I had on it, the way that I was vaping it. I would also know if it was excessively hot. I would know if it got too hot too quick, and I'd stop using it. I wouldn't just keep pressing it thinking, what the fuck's wrong with this? I'd take my switch apart, I'd check my build, I'd check for hot legs, I'd check for fucking whatever. Because we all went through that. But then we'd sit in hangouts talking about, oh, fucking hell, I found on this particular mod, if your leg's sticking out, you'll find a little fucking earth on the body, and just be careful of that. People would talk to each other and share that knowledge. Now it's like all the old school, a bit like, nah, fuck you, man. You want to fucking vape smoke alien tanks, crack on. We're not telling you. And it's only us that can change that. Only us.
It's even down to like arcing and stuff. I can imagine majority of people who's new to vaping have no idea what arcing is. No idea.
No, look, Tom, I mean, I'm guessing we've had an inbox message since Expo saying, I've got arcing on my battery off the Emperor where the RDA is touching it. And I'm like, you will have, mate. Do you realise the heat that's generated at that point of contact? If I didn't get arcing on my switch, I'd take a coil off my take a wrap off my coil, mate, and I'd be like, nah, it's not hitting hard enough. Need a bit of arcing going on to make sure that I'm fucking properly belting the life out of the battery.
It's just simple stuff like that isn't known, and the education on it, and it always comes back to where we say education is key. But then I always go back to saying people don't want to be educated. So are we at the point where we need to ram this education down people's throats because people aren't paying attention to what we've actually gone through and the education we have? And people are like, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? I don't need to know Ohm's law. I can just pick up some pre-made coils, off I go, stick it in my mech, and off I go. But you don't understand the amps you're drawing, you don't understand the volts, you don't understand anything about it. You know, we've said we sat there and we literally compared bills. I've done this is what I'm doing, I've wrapped it like this. Even down to what you said about the legs sticking out and touching the body, so to make contact with the body of the deck. You know, just simple things like that makes me think the education is definitely 100% where we need to be with what's going on in this.
We built the Pandora on Friday with the series building it, and then at some point over the course of Saturday, I asked Disco to put me a single build in it, so we dropped it down to 0.12, and then at some point over the course of that day, it got put back together as a stack to show someone, and later on that day, someone took 2 batteries in it and started pulsing it with a 0.12 build in a stack mod. Now, it was only because of the knowledge of the people that were working on our stand that as soon as that mod fired, someone said, that's never a series build. And actually, someone came over to me and said, Paul, what build's on the deck? And this I said about 0.12, put back down to single. What I thought it was. Now, how many inexperienced, regulated vapors would have even known that? They just wouldn't. They'd just be going, fuck, you know, what? I used to see it all the time, mate. Look how quickly, right, the Noisy Cricket took off as a series affordable mod at 30 quid or 35 quid. How many knobheads used to post going, Noisy Cricket, it's like a fucking sledgehammer? That's because you've screwed your RDA off your single tube and you've screwed it onto a series mod and you've put your 2 batteries in and you haven't got a fucking clue what you're doing. That's why you prick.
Yeah, 110%.
Any fucking mod in the world in series with a 0.12 build on it will kick like a motherfucker until a point where it vents and blows your fucking hand off. Then all of a sudden, vaping's dangerous and everyone involved in it's arseholes and cunts. And it's just like no one's got the basic understanding of what they're doing. I say no one. There's very few people that choose to learn. They don't want to learn because they can get. I couldn't go and buy pre. I can remember hounding people to make pre-made calls for me 4 years ago because I didn't particularly have the inkling to want to learn. So if someone can present me something in a big red packet and says this one is fine for single battery, these ones are fine for double battery, these ones are fine for triple battery, these ones are called for regulator because you can fucking crank it up or down depending on what you want to get out of it. I couldn't get no cunt to make them for me. And now the whole industry, including our own brand, is awash with pre-made coils. That's a good thing for people starting out. The trouble is, when we sell them coils, we completely skip over the education part. I never used to sell a single roll of wire in our shop without sitting down and talking to some cunts and making sure they understood what they were doing with that wire. Now, because our knowledge is greater, we assume everyone's knowledge is great. But some of these people have only been vaping for 6 weeks.
A lot of it for me at Expo as well. A lot of people was coming over and asking for wire, and I'd ask them what they was wanting it for, not just saying, "Oh, I think this is best." Asking, is it for a series or is it for a single? Is it regulated? Because, like you're saying, there's a lot of different ways you can use. They all perform well, but you could get something what performs better depending on the device you're using it in. So it's not just a case of buying one set of pre-made coils and putting it in every device. You can get one set of coils and use them in one device, another set of coils for another device, and another set of coils for another device, and each one would perform better than each other, having the right set of coils in there.
Absolutely. No, but what's the stock answer when you ask someone that question, Kevin? And certainly the stock answer I got was, I don't know, mate, you tell me.
Yeah.
Because actually, they don't know. They don't know what they want. They don't know what the difference is. They don't know the different. We had so many people coming up and asking for Flatton, which is obviously the trademark of the flat Clapton. And actually, what they wanted was even a dual fused.
Yeah.
They don't really know what they want, or a triple fuse. I mean, we got to 6 fuse in the range, both on spool and on pre-made coil. And actually, when you showed someone a 5 or a 4 core fuse Clapton, it's fucking pretty flat because it has to be, because it's wide as fuck.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, that'll do. They ain't got a clue. I could have sold them anything. Actually, you still try and have that little bit of education with them, saying, well, actually, flat Clapton is a single core, a flat wire that's been rolled, and then it's Claptoned. This is a multi-strand version. It creates a similar surface area, if not a better surface area. We've got that available in N80, N90, stainless, canthal. Now, if someone's asking for I think our 5-core fuse Clapton, if I remember right, is the lowest ohm per inch, because the 4-core uses a different core and the 3-core uses a different core, and so does the 6. So actually the 5-core, if I remember right, is the lowest ohm per inch. Now, if someone's using a regulated mod with an RDA, never in a million years would I say to them, go for the 5-core, because they don't need to. But if they were using the ME with the single deck on, 5 wraps, so that's perfect. It comes in at 0.1.
Yeah.
And it ramps up nice and fast as well, because it's 980.
You get a nice surface area to it as well.
Exactly. You've got more surface area than I ever had back in the day with 5 wraps of 22 gauge dual core. You've probably got 8 times the surface area of a dual core round wire build. It's 22 gauge. So it's only us that can change that education. It's only us that can start to interfere, if that's the right word, and say to people, look, if you want to dabble in the Met market or rebuildable, whether that be tank, whether that be RDA, do it, but just come and speak to us and talk to us and do.
I feel like if the education's there, then we've got no excuse from our behalf. It's whether people listen and take on that education. I think that's the main key, is that if people are wanting to learn and wanting to listen, they need to obviously speak to somebody who knows what they're doing. And if that education is there, ready, available, take it on board. You know what I mean? That's my worrying part, is we can do our side of things, but if someone's not willing to listen and not willing to research and learn, then there's only far we can go by giving that education. So I think if a lot of people turn around and said, listen, we need to start educating a lot more, and everyone took that ethos on board of education is key, I think it would change the industry around dramatically. I really do.
People, I'm going to dip because more visitors have just come out and it's just getting louder and louder and louder.
No, it is.
I had a wicked weekend. I'm looking forward to May. I'm looking forward to actually us all talking in the background to see what we can do to get some momentum going on and whatever. So on that note, I'm out of here. Thank you, Kevin, for joining.
No worries.
Thank you for everything over the weekend. Appreciate it. Speak to you.
See you later, Paul.
Cheers, Paul.
Sweet. So we got Paul still on that. I'm still sitting here, Kevin. I'm thinking about the education thing, sides of it, and everything. And what Paul said was absolutely spot on, and sort of where we need to be to sort of rein everybody back in. You know what I mean? It's sort of like we've had our kids, and then we've just gone right into the big wide world. You go, and then we've sort of got to like rein them back.
I do 100% agree with what Paul was saying, but I think a lot of the issue as well is people are lazy and people want ease. So if they can go to a shop and buy a stock coil, either pre-made as in what screws into a tank, they can put the juice in it and vape on it and it does what they want. That's what they're going to stick to for a lot of people. There's some people who want to learn as well, but they don't want to go to the full extent of learning it all. So it's knowing where to sort of that cut-off mark is of on how much knowledge you pass over, because obviously you want them to be safe,
Yeah.
but then you don't want to bore them as well.
It's not just boring them, it's like an information overload as well, isn't it? Like if you
Yes.
teach them way too quick, like we had the journey of this is mouth to lung, this is what you're doing with your rebuildable tanks, this is what you do with rebuildable RDAs. You know, the journey is no longer there anymore. You don't
No.
start with a mouth to lung and then make your way to a mech. Mech was, we used to see mech as the final boss, as you could say. And say for instance, this is some sort of game. You start off on the easy level, and then when you get to a mech, you're at the final boss, and this is where the pinnacle is of vaping.
Yeah.
It's sort of like people have get into a regulated mod with 200 watts for the first device, and then by the second device, they're into mechs, and the education there and the learning curve is not there anymore. But where would you start? Because me personally, I saw at Expo, I got to see a lot of the guys in action on the booth, taking a back seat and watching and being more organising than getting down and dirty. I did get down and dirty a lot, but seeing sort of like Dave and yourself doing a lot with the wire and stuff like that, and I sat there and took a lot of education in myself, you know, and listening into what you were saying and stuff like that. And Kev, you're my guru when I need to speak about certain things about, you know, batteries and amp ratings and builds and stuff like that. Till this day, I still ask a double opinion on what's the best thing, because that's just the way I am. And sort of a lot of people did come over, and I can't emphasize it so much enough, but a lot of people were saying, what batteries do I need? You know, when I sent the guys over to you for wire and pre-mades, and I was saying, this is what they're going to buying, or this is what they're running, and what's the best thing that they can use for this, you know. And it goes back to what Paul was saying. You ask somebody, what are they using it for, or what's the reason they want it, and they go, I don't know, you tell me. And it's that education there needs to be a little bit more, because there is, as we say, only a little bit more information we can give without you doing physical research of what you're actually purchasing.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to people in shops as well, because how it used to be, you used to go to vape meets, you used to talk hangouts, like Paul mentioned as well, where you'd talk about your builds and everything. But I don't think there's that education in shops anymore, because a lot of people are frightened to give out too much information, because if something goes wrong with someone's device and the battery unfortunately does vent because they've done something by mistake, then a lot of people have got that worry of being sued for it. And I think that is a lot of worries.
Yeah, it's definitely like a blame game, isn't it? Rather than taking your own sort of responsibility of what you've done, how you've done it, what have I done wrong, it's always down to the person you've purchased it from. There's a lot of that blame game goes on now.
Yeah.
It's not like taking your own, listening to people's advice and then doing it. And then rather than asking before you do it, it's done. And you've already vented a battery before you even ask someone what the fuck's gone on.
Yeah.
You know, there is that there. And it's sort of, I know we're going over this, but it's sort of, if we can get everybody in this chat, even to turn around, and if somebody asks a question, just answer the question as to the best of your ability. And if you don't know it, tag someone in the post, get them to give their advice, and see where it goes from there. Landing PMs. There's not that landing PMs anymore. Like Paul's saying, there's 20 comments saying you're a dickhead, don't do that.
Yeah.
Rather than giving education.
Yeah, 110%. Like obviously, like you said, if we've got 26 people-ish watching at the minute, if those 26 people don't know themselves, come to someone and ask the question. Don't feel frightened that you're going to get knocked down by someone. If you need a bit of knowledge, or you know someone else who needs a bit of knowledge and you don't have that knowledge, ask the question, because at the end of the day, it's better to ask than let them vent a battery.
100%. Right, let's get on to some positives then. So what was your biggest highlight of the Vaper Expo this weekend then, bud?
My biggest highlight would have been, it wasn't the expo as such. The bit I really did enjoy it. It embarrassed me a lot, and you pretty much know what I'm going to say now. But we all went out on Saturday night for a meal, and the Suicide Lads, they decided to play a practical joke on me, saying it was my birthday and everything else. So yeah, it was really, really embarrassing, but it made this expo memorable for me because of them doing that. It showed, obviously, people can have a laugh. Yes, it's a different company and everything else, but it's not about that. It's all about everyone having a laugh and a good joke and a laugh, and just in general talking to each other. You don't need the bitchiness. There's no need for it. There's so much ability to be able to talk, but then people don't, because they feel like, oh, I'm using this, I can't talk to that person because they're not using it.
Yeah, that's very, very much sort of like there is still that clickiness that goes on, and it was nice to have that. That was a very funny situation. If you haven't seen it, I know Tasha has tagged every single one of us in it, so you can even check it on my Facebook or Kev's. But it was really, really funny. Yeah, going on to that, the show didn't seem clicky as such. Do you know what I mean? Going back, saying about the show and people being clicky, it's sort of everyone's sticking to their own, and you don't use that device, so we're not going to talk to you and stuff like that. You know, we got to speak to a fair. Don't get me wrong, we was bombarded and we was busy as anything, and there was a lot of hustle and bustle going on, and a lot of work went over the weekend. We got a chance to talk to different vendors and have a little bit of a chat, and it was nice, as you say, to remove that shit.
Yeah,
which is predominantly over Facebook.
Yeah.
When you see these people in real life and you get to see them face to face, you have a chat with them, and you know, Kev, as you know, you're one of my closest friends, so I get to see you probably more times than I would if I just saw you at an expo. But it's nice to see these people away from just Facebook, and you can have a chat with them, especially when we went out and we had a giggle and a laugh, and you get to see people on a personal level. You know, even though you're serving customers and stuff, and you have that 10 minutes to have a chat with them and do whatever, it's nice to have that human contact and have a chat with them and get what they're liking, what they're doing, how they're enjoying the show and stuff like that. And I think that's a massive thing, that the communication of things, it needs to carry on, because regardless of what product you use, regardless of what brand you're sponsored by or anything like that, at the end of the day, we're all there for the same reasons. And we're all there to enjoy ourselves as much as anything else. You don't go to these things if you're not going to enjoy yourself. If you don't enjoy it, you don't go.
No.
And
no, you do need to go to enjoy yourself. It's not about the free shit at all. You need to go to try new products. At the end of the day, all the companies go to try and promote their business. We're all there for the same reason.
Yeah.
And customers need to go to an expo and not just think, oh, well, I'm going for free shit, I can get enough juice to last me 6 months. It's not about that. It's about going to try different products, what you don't see in your usual vape shop. There's a lot of stuff on the market, as worldwide market. I'm not going to say UK market, worldwide market. It's a hell of a lot of product there. And people don't get to see a quarter of it, even at an expo.
Yeah.
There's loads more, and it's, don't get me wrong, you get a lot of different varieties at expo, but you're only seeing a quarter, if not less, at an expo. So that is why you go to an expo, because it gives you that chance to try new devices, to buy new devices if you want to buy them, where you're not going to try it in your local vape shop.
Exactly. I'm going to mention a few things in chat as well. Everyone's saying it was a great family vibe for the show, which I agree 100% with. John O saying I love his cuddles. Yes, I do, mate. Of course. Jay here, and this is obviously Jay who came on the stage, who also, I believe, took a picture with Paul's mask. We'll talk about the masks in a bit, but put a picture with Paul's mask above his privates, and he said, "My first expo, I loved it, meeting the vendors and getting chat to each other, chat to other vapors, and on the stage with Paul and Tom." Do you know what I mean? This was his first expo. He really enjoyed himself. He got to have a chat and meet up with people he spoke to on Facebook. And that is what it's about. And I've always said this. Yes, we go for business, but I get to catch up with Kev. I get to catch up with all the people I see. I get to catch up with Paul and Tash. You know what I mean? It's about having that, we are there for a reason. But the best side of it for me is seeing these people and being able to have a chat and putting, faces to names that you just see a lot of people came up to me. I don't know about you, Kev, but was like, you don't even know who I am, do you? And I'm like, you've got a dog as your fucking profile photo. How the fuck am I meant to know who you are? You know what I mean? It's like, I get that. It's funny because then you're breaking the ice. You're getting to meet people. I had Zach, who's in the chat, asked me before the show, Tom, you want an alcoholic drink or a normal drink? Before he even got to the show, brought me a drink, and it's just stuff like that. That's nice. He knows that, we're going to be really busy, maybe not be able to get a drink. And for him to bring over a drink is just, that sticks in my mind. That's like, just a nice thing for somebody to do. You know what I mean? He didn't have to do it, but things like that stick in my mind. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, you know what? This kid's he's a decent lad. You know what I mean? He does care. And to me, that's more important than anything else. But I want to get to the nitty gritty, mate. I want to get to the nitty gritty. For everybody who's in the chat, somebody did mention it. So there was a scuffle at the expo, whether it was fucking handbags, a scuffle or whatever. I didn't know about this scuffle till after the show. I saw a video on Facebook after I'd left. I was like, okay, what had gone on? This, for me, is definitely the first time I've ever seen a fight at a Vape Expo.
110%. I've never seen one myself. Obviously, as well as me, we didn't see it happen.
No.
I only saw it afterwards as well, when obviously I got told about it.
You get all this shit before, you get people saying, oh, I'm going to knock you out at Expo. It never happens. People just chat shit online. And then you get there and nothing happens. Everyone's cool. You just keep out of each other's way.
Yeah.
Just do your own shit and ends up like that. But for me to see this video of somebody fighting, Kev, I'm going to let you give me your opinion first. What was your opinion when you first saw the video?
When I first saw it, I didn't see the need of it. They destroyed someone's stand who had nothing to do with it. And it's like, that person would have paid a lot of money for that stand. He might have owned the cabinets, they might not have, they might hide them, but he still would have left a deposit on that. So you're not just affecting you as people who are having the fight, you've now affected other people by destroying someone's products. And it could take a big effect on that person. So to be fair, I don't think there was any need for it. I don't fully know what happened. I don't think anyone knows exactly who it was, who started it, who was involved. There's a lot of rumours who was involved and everything else. There's been statements put out by companies saying it was nothing to do with us and everything else. But it's like, you don't know 110% unless the two people who first started it, they are the only two people what knew 110% what it was about.
Let's have a look. Gavin Blake said, I wish I was there. Was fucking creasing. Best thing. Number one knows. No one knows 100% what the fuck went down. I heard it was whoever. Anyways, I don't know who it was. I don't want to get involved in the politics of who it was or anything like that. I don't really give two fucks. For me personally, the issue I've got with that is obviously the person that was stood recording it, rather than getting involved. To me personally, it's not needed at them events. They should have gone outside and said, well, let's have a straightener outside or whatever. Don't get me wrong, if you got beef and you want a straightener, go deal with your shit. But when stuff like that gets onto social media and it starts a whole fucking drama, I don't particularly think it's needed, because then next thing we know, we're getting fucking slated for starting fucking UFC fights in the middle of fucking Vaper Expo.
Yeah, 110%.
Don't know the story. Don't have a clue about the story, mate.
It gives the industry a bad name. There's enough bad press as it is, all made up. But the last thing you want is video evidence of people fighting at an expo. It's the end of the day, if people have got issues, take your business elsewhere. Go outside, like you said, like you would at school. When you was at school, if you had beef with someone, you'd say meet outside, Harper's free, back of the bike sheds.
When school's fucking finished, get it out.
When school's finished, get it over and done with. Get school finished with, and then grab your scrap.
Yeah.
And sort yourselves out. Don't do it right there, right then.
Slayer said in chat, people that spread rumors are the worst. Exactly. Because it could have been anybody. Yes, some of these people were wearing branded shirts or whatever. They could have been in the middle of it. As we've seen that people have released statements saying it wasn't us or whatever. Whatever people are saying, you know, that's their choice of whether they were involved or not. I don't particularly give a fuck who was involved. That's their own beef. But to do it, because I class this as my baby. This industry is my baby. We've been in this industry from get-go and we've put our time and effort in for it. And when people turn around and I feel disrespected, the fact is that rather than being men and sorting you shit out somewhere else, or even in words, go fuck yourself. Do you know what I mean? We don't need this shit in our fucking industries. We don't. We don't want it. We don't need it. If you want to fucking do it somewhere else. Get the fuck out of here. And for anybody spreading rumors and shit and likes drama and all that shit, don't get me wrong, drama's fun. I've been involved in plenty of it in my time. But when you are physically fighting in a professional fucking way, where we are as business owners, business workers, people there for a purpose, and you're throwing fucking fists, get a fucking life. Get out of here and fucking go do it somewhere else because we ain't got time for it. It is that simple.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if it got completely out of hand, it's going to touch a little bit to like what Pixie's just commented. We can't have a fantastic event if things like this happen, because not just them making it bad for us. If more and more fights do happen, the people who run Expo are not going to let it happen if it's just going to come for a free-for-all brawl.
Yeah, they're not going to put the show on. The show's going to get stopped.
I know you've got security there and everything else. Yes, there's security there of people's safety, but it shouldn't come to the fact where they're pretty much going to know they're going to need to get involved in something. It shouldn't come to that at all.
Exactly. Stupidly, plain and simple. What happens there is going to happen eventually as community expands. Hopefully, it don't start a trend. 100%. I don't hope it starts a trend, and I don't think it will. And I think it was a one-off, and I think it won't happen again. And as I say, it's something we don't need, something we don't want. You know, I understand it's the world we live in, and you know, we're red-blooded males, we're lions, and whatever's happened in the background, somebody's been disrespected or whatever's happened in the situation. I have no idea of the situation, but I can't elaborate enough that it doesn't need to be in where we are. If you've got a fucking issue, resolve it somewhere else. These are the main thing for me is this is fucking vendors. It's not even the public. It wasn't the public fighting. It was vendors. So whether I can't put into my mind how you could feel that in any way, shape, or form is a sign of being professional. It's just it's not happening. And again, we all put our funny statuses up and we say stuff. Obviously, I'm not backtracking at all, but I've put up statuses and shit like that. But I ain't fisticuffed in a fucking professional environment.
No, but unless they did it as an advertising ploy. And if they did, it worked very well because they would have got quite a bit of advertising from it. No, but I'm not saying that's 100% what they did.
Even if it was advertising, it's backfired because it's the people are saying it's not that company, and it's not this company, it's not that company, and nobody's come forward and gone, well, we were the part of the straightener, because people would turn around and go, fuck off, we don't need it, we don't want it.
Yeah.
It's all right for a bit of drama and a bit of Facebook drama, but when it comes physical, it's fucking wrong, 100% wrong. And we all like watching a good scrap. Don't get me wrong. If I'd have been there, they'd be like, "Go on, son, fucking do him," laughing at it. But on a real, to take time back and look back on it and think, actually, this is not a situation we want to see. So let's talk a little bit about Banter. Paul's not here, but let's talk a bit about Banter. I know you didn't see what went off on the stage, Kev. I know you saw a boxer, somebody in boxers running around the expo, but I know you were on the stand at the time. But it was really, really funny, but really weird at the same time to see our masks at the expo. Really weird, like walking around expo and seeing a mask on someone's back of the head or someone's head and seeing your face. It was all obviously, we did the masks obviously for the stage time, the Banter stage time, and we obviously picked people up who took the time to come to the booth, even just to pick up a mask, and to come up on the stage and have the chance to maybe win a prize. And obviously the stage time went really well. I do apologise to anybody who wanted to get involved on the Sunday. I did tell people to come up to the stage on the Sunday, but they didn't actually have us booked in on the Sunday, which was pretty disappointing because it was going to be a bigger one as well. So it's going to be quite funny. But we obviously didn't get able to do that. But the show on the Saturday on the stage, it just amazes me, the people that just the laughs, like we do this, and me and Paul are very much, we'll enjoy a laugh, we enjoy a giggle and whatnot. And then to do it on a stage to thousands of people, I can't explain to people what it's. I'm saying this because I'm being appreciative of what people say, people getting involved, people having a laugh with us and wanting to do it with us and bring that sort of community vibe, that funny stuff back and having a giggle with it. That's the main reason I'm saying it. And I said, people say to me all the time, Tom, I was shouting you, and when I'm on the stage, and Paul will say this as well, you blank out. You literally just focus on saying the right things, not messing up on the mic, making sure everything's running smoothly, and people are shouting at you, and you blank them. So that's an apology from me, because that's just what happens when you're on the stage.
But there's a lot of people shouting at you, isn't there?
Yeah,
it's not just one person. It's loads and loads of people what are actually shouting.
Yeah, it's weird to put it into words, and I just wanted to just like thank people. And I get, we go on the stage and we have a lot of fun and we make people do silly things, and we did this game and whatnot. I just trying to I'm trying to say my feelings across of how proud I am and thankful for people that do actually get involved with us. And it does mean a hell of a lot to me and Paul when we do see people, even down to people using the mods, wearing the hoodies, purchasing the hats. It's very much, it's hard to say, you know what I mean? It gets me quite emotional. And the fact is that we put our time and effort into it, and people are very happy with what we do and how we are. And I've had people say it was hilarious, it was funny, people giggling, coming and telling us it was funny, and it's madness. So I'm sorry that I've lost my words, but that's exactly how it makes me feel.
It shows you're also emotional as well about it, because at the end of the day, it shows you are human. You have got emotions and everything else. At the end of the day, it's nice to get feedback from people, because all of us, in whatever way we do it, we go out our way to do what we do. We don't just do it, we do it for everyone else. And to get feedback for doing all that sort of stuff is a nice feeling. It actually feels like what you're actually doing is worthwhile.
100% agree with that. And it's just mad to think that me and Paul wanted to do this show just to have a little bit of a giggle, and then we was asked in May to go up on the stage by the Expo themselves. We haven't asked Expo to do this. We was asked to go on the stage in May. We did the onion thing, and it got a really good response. And people said after the show it was really funny. It got everybody involved. And then we did this show in October, and we got asked once again to get up on the stage and to give us a little bit more time. And it's just really appreciative that people take the time, even while they're going around the expos, to come to the stage, watch us, pick up the masks, and even down to people posting after, on Facebook with the masks. I've seen loads of funny pictures. I've been sent a load of funny pictures, even down to people's kids wearing my mask, and I've had like little Tom sent to me the kids wearing the mask. It's madness. It really is madness, and we do enjoy doing it. Don't get me wrong. If we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't do it. But we do enjoy it, and we do absolutely shit ourselves before we go on the stage. I'm not even gonna lie. Even though we seem confident on the stage, there's a lot of planning that goes on to the stage time. We make sure that we're doing things, and I can't speak on Paul, but I am so nervous before we step on the stage. And the minute we step on the stage and I grab the mic, it's like being home again. And seeing these familiar faces and seeing everyone sort of laughing and giggling and whatnot. And this is nothing like we are exactly the same on the stage. And as you meet us in person, you know it. Kev, you know this. We're exactly the same online as we are in real life. And it just carries on. And that's just my side of banter. And I'm just going to mention the fucking guy. So you had Jay, who got down to his fucking boxers, and the guy that ran from the stage to the TYV stand to pick up the fucking juice was legendary. Absolutely fucking legendary.
Well, I didn't know what was going on. Obviously, I was at the stand where you lot was up on the stage, and it was just literally 1 minute. It was that everyone was working away, still serving customers, everything, and then the next minute, a guy just runs past in his boxes. It's like, what? You think you've seen everything at an expo, and then you see a guy run past in his boxes. Obviously, I found out afterwards what obviously the situation was, but you don't expect someone to run past to stand in the boxes. It brings us something a little bit different for people to have a laugh, because at the end of the day, people want to have a laugh with what they're doing, and it makes other people laugh as well. So if people are happy to join in with that fun and take it for a good laugh, it's all good.
Yeah, it makes it well worth it in the end. It really does. And the guy on the security guy on the stage, and he fucking literally, Paul said it on the live feed. If you've not seen the live feed, but the guy on the stage with security had to message all the security guys. So he's speaking over the mic saying, "There's a guy in his boxers running around Expo. Do not tackle him. He's literally doing something for the stage." So for that to happen was fucking brilliant. You know,
Yeah.
just some random shit.
Without him doing that, he probably would have got tackled and he would have never got back.
100%, 100%, 100% it was.
Escorted off site sort of basis.
That kid who liked the manky vape, someone said the kid that liked the manky vape, there was a few of them that actually fucking liked the manky vape. When I was, a lot of people will have seen, and if you was there at the stage, I went round to people in the crowd and let them smell if I'd have had a fucking GoPro on my shoulder or on my fucking head and recorded these people's reactions when I put this juice in their face, every single one of them were like, fuck that, it's disgusting. How the fuck do they like it? You know what I mean? Everybody's face was just like, this is fucking wrong. How the fuck are people actually enjoying this? It's something different.
Yeah, it's like when I was on stand, it's like when you lot was sort of like sniffing the juices. It's like someone said to me, "You're gonna come and smell them." It's like, no, I don't need to. I can tell by you lot how bad they are. And it's like, with you saying, I think there was one guy, because he came back with you lot and he double hitted two of the bad juices, didn't he?
That was Des. That was fucking Des, and he knows fucking hit them bad juices.
Yeah,
he knows fucking hit.
That's what I was just about to say. He knows hit both of the juices. And it's like, how can you do it? How can you physically do it?
But for somebody to come back to the stage and be like, "Let me try these juices," because they're up for a laugh.
Yeah,
he's fucking brilliant. It is really, really good. Obviously, Des is obviously a bit of a wild character, and he don't really give a shit and wants to have a blast on him and whatnot. But for someone to be like, "Let's try him," you know what I mean? I'm actually quite fucking excited to do this. And Tash did a video of him doing it, like he didn't give a fuck, and it was just. To me, that's the side of it that I want to see. It's funny, the stuff going on. People have got smiles on their faces. The most important thing for me is when people come to Expo and come to our stand and see us as people, if they're walking away with a smile, I know our job is done.
Yeah.
And that is the main thing. what else did we need to mention? There was some other stuff that I had set to say.
I don't know. You plan the show, Tom.
I'm just flabbergasted by no. I've got no. It's other things that I remembered about. I was wanting to go over things we actually remembered at the show and stuff like that. But I've just gone fucking blank because I'm thinking of fucking desert in that fucking mod in his nose and stuff.
You need to start making notes before the
I
show.
always make notes. Just this week, I thought Expo, yeah, we can just run it off and do. But obviously, I've made a bit of a fuck up. But we can get over to it. Neil Pugsley, the Endless team always manages to give the best laughs ever. Thank God you didn't mix them up with the AF testers on the stand. Definitely fucking good job.
Yeah.
You made me double hit both juices at the same time. They were rotten. Jay was fucking brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and a lad for doing what he did. I really enjoyed it. Is there anything else that you fancy mentioning about the show? Is there anything else that was a highlight for yourself or anything like that, Kev?
The new, I won't say a lot because obviously I don't know how much I can say, but obviously something new. What I am looking forward to seeing is the Pandemonium. Obviously I did see it at the show. It is quite unique, so I am sort of looking forward to when that does get released. I think it's going to change a lot of people's minds how things can be done.
100%. And when Paul, because I know the Vaping Bogan did come over to the stand and he was looking at the Mervyn Shaw LEs, and I know Paul went over to him and introduced himself because Paul has always called him the Vaping Brogan on this show.
Okay.
So I've always laughed at him calling him Brogan. So I was like, it's Bogan. When you introduce yourself, it's Bogan. And then I was like, what does Bogan mean? I was like, it's dickhead in Australia or something like that, whatever it is. It's Bogan.
Right.
So he introduced him to him, and Paul had the mod, and he showed him the mod, and his face when he saw the mod, he was actually like, I need one of them. Get me one of them when they're released. And for somebody who's of that caliber of, flies the world, giving his opinions, and a lot of people respect his opinions. And for somebody to turn on and go, I need that mod. Definitely, when Paul came back and said he really loved it, he enjoyed seeing it and the mechanics of it and how it works, was definitely like, yes, this is going to be fucking fire. Because I think this Proto's the 4th.
Okay.
Because I saw it in May. If you didn't get to see the Pandemonium, guys, you're slacking. Paul had it on him all weekend, but I saw the first one in May and I was like, this is fucking really, really different. And this is I think could be very much the new wave of what the fuck is going to go on regarding mechs. And to see people's faces when they actually saw it and saw the mechanics of how it fitted together and everything like that was very much like, this is fucking cool, and this is the design of it is really mint. And I enjoyed seeing people sort of like, because there was a guy called Davey. I don't know whether Davey watches the show or not, but he's a gentleman that messaged me a few weeks ago. He lives in Scotland, and he came down and he uses a dirty as his ADV. That's what his ADV is. Is a dirty.
I think I know who you mean.
Yeah. And he came over and he was like, I need to see this mod. And I showed him the mod. I took it off Paul, and Paul was having a conversation with somebody else. I took the mod off Paul and I showed him, and I broke it down and showed him how it worked. And he was talking to me, and he went, just give me a second. And he tapped Paul on his shoulder. Paul turned around and stood up, and he said, you're an absolute fucking legend, and shook his hand. And I was like, do you know, that is fucking really nice.
Yeah.
It was nice of him to be like, do you know what, this is sick, and I'm going to let you know that I think you're sick for doing this. We don't do it for pats on the backs, and we don't do it for like, yeah, we think they're fucking bee's knees. But somebody to take their time and effort out to actually want to look at what the new design of the new mod is, and then to actually appreciate someone that's done it, was definitely nice. Really, really fucking nice.
Yeah, just to touch on the point what Neil's just said, obviously being threadless, it will cut down the voltage drop as well.
Yeah, massively. massively, massively. And the mod that Paul was rocking was in stainless steel.
Yeah.
And it's
100%.
still rocked like a fucking train. Good evening, Salam. Good to see you in here. The new Endless is amazing and looking forward to the size of it. Well, Paul had it in 25mm Proto, and I know for a fact it's going to be a 28mm.
There's another highlight of Expo.
Go on.
And I am gonna apologise to Adele for this. While you was on stage on Saturday, there was a midget walking about the expo hall in a clown costume.
Can we be politically correct and call it a dwarf?
Okay, a dwarf. There was a dwarf walking about.
A midget. I like that.
Yeah, midget sounds better. So he was walking about, and he was walking towards the stand, and obviously Adele doesn't like midgets at all. And I just wanted a bit of banter with Adele, so I got him to chase Adele down the back of a stand. So that was another highlight of my expo weekend because I did find it really amusing. I know it was on Adele's behalf, but it was just funny to watch. Yeah, I think she pretty much, if she had had a knife, she probably would have killed me afterwards when she found out it was me what set it up. But yeah, that was another really memorable thing to the weekend.
Amazing. And just while we go on to the next subject, I just want to see if you guys want to let us know your highlights for the weekend, how you enjoyed it. Please let us know in the comments and in the chat. You know, we want to hear your experiences and how you enjoyed the show, and if there was anything better that you feel like the show could have been. It's always great to get feedback and to hear what you guys have got to say. It's not just about, well, me and Kev tonight talking about our experiences. I also really enjoy listening to your experiences as well, and I know Kev does as well. So I'd really appreciate hearing that. I'm going to go through some news, mate.
Okay.
Because we usually cover news. We've done Expo. We spoke about Expo and stuff like that. But I want to do some news because we usually do what we do every week. We do a little bit of news and what's going on in the world of vaping. And I did do a little bit of research today of the news and was like, okay, we're going to be talking about Expo, so I don't really need the news. But I do like to touch on it. So we're going to talk about some news. So a couple of weeks back, I think it was either last week or the week before that, we spoke about Thailand banning vaping completely. Well, they've actually gone on back on the word, and they're actually thinking about reversing that.
Really?
That is definitely positive.
That is definitely a positive. There is a lot of places you can't vape in the world. It is against law too, and I think for a place to go back on what they've brought in is a big step. They've obviously realised a lot of information since they brought the ban in. They've obviously revisited it. They've obviously not just got all the information they want and banned it and left it at that. They've obviously got a lot more information and then revisited the thoughts on it.
Yeah, 100%. And we've been rejoined. It's like a morning live feed. We've been rejoined by the big man himself. Are you heading home?
I'm heading home. I'm fucking knackered. I've got kids to sleep in the car, buckets of sweets. We've been out begging free shit all night with the kids, man.
Yeah, we're just touching on a bit of the news and stuff like that. We were saying that Thailand are thinking about reverting back to not banning vaping, so which is definitely a massive positive. The next story I want to talk about, and I think you'll like this one, Paul. 2 university students have started a petition. Their school mascot is a bird that's smoking a pipe, and they've asked to change the mascot so it's vaping rather than smoking this pipe. What is your opinion on that? Because I think that's absolutely mental that the school is not going to change it.
I think that the bird should be vaping and it should have an endless fucking hoodie on.
Yeah, they say because there is actually a picture of the mascot and it looks like it's got a cig in its mouth, but they're wanting to change it to birds vaping. What do you think, Kev? Do you think they'll laugh it out or do you think they'll change it?
I think they'll laugh it out, if I'm honest.
I honestly think they'll laugh it out, but for that to be in news that they've actually turned around and gone, we want to change it to be vape. But the worst thing about it is they want it to be vaping a fucking Juul.
Yeah.
They've actually requested it to be vaping a fucking Juul.
That's because some cunt at Joel has given that geezer about 10 banks and said, change your mascot, bro, and I'll hook you up 10 grand drink. Listen, it's been in the news this week that in some Greggs, they're selling gingerbread persons. Right. If they can take gingerbread man off the list, they should take the fucking cigarette out of the bird's mouth. Simple as.
What? They've changed it to gingerbread person?
Yes, it's a gingerbread person now because it's not. It's sexist. To say gingerbread man.
It's a non-binary gingerbread man.
There you
go. Which means, in reality, if it's not a gingerbread man, you're not getting as much gingerbread for your money, are you? 'Cause it's missing its fucking meat and two.
I think if you go to Cafe Nero's, you can actually buy gingerbread girls and gingerbread boys.
I just think that it's going to taste shit because it's fucking gender fluid. Listen, in my day, fucking gender fluid was when I fucking ejaculated.
Mate, it's mad that like Greggs are probably up there with in the top 3% of reasons why we've got fat obese kids, and they're worried about what the fucking gingerbread's called.
Fucking hell. Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty cool news article. But talking on Juul have recently purchased a company in China for $75 million.
Manufacturing facility.
It's called, the company they've purchased is VMR Products, and their partner company V2 e-cigarettes, which would mean that they would have access to the Chinese market. So they would be then putting their products into China. They would be manufacturing, as they're not already manufacturing in China, but basically it's for a bigger outreach in China. So they've invested $75 million into this factory, into this business. Is Juul owned by Big Tobacco?
I believe it is, but I'm not so sure that it's a public thing. But trust me, right, when they're chucking 75 million quid about, you don't know by fucking someone in my caliber. That's for sure.
Well, what did we say that made 1.2 billion last year? So they've obviously been bought out by the Imperial Tobacco. So that obviously means that they're once again got their deep pockets inside this industry, and they're obviously doing what they need to do inside the States again. Which,
if anyone from Imperial Tobacco is watching, or Philip Morris happens to tune into this live feed, I just want 5 mil, and it's fucking yours, and you can keep some.
No! Oh my god. So I'm gonna see what people's highlights was. According to Bogan's feed, Australia is banning vaping adverts and online sales. Well, I know for a fact there is some sort of ban in Australia anyway for vaping. I've already questioned this weeks and weeks ago. Me and Paul was talking, how the fuck does Bogan still do reviews when it's fucking banned in Australia? You must be in some part of Australia that you get away with it. But we know that.
I don't know, is it banned or is it just banned? You're not allowed to vape outdoors and all that bullshit.
Nicotine. I think it's nicotine that's banned.
I think, yeah, it is nicotine. In Australia, you can't have anything what contains any sort of nicotine product.
So then, if any wholesalers in Australia are watching, I can send you our liquid, and the one with the red lid has got 3 fairies in it, and the one with the blue lid has got 6 fairies in it, and the one with the black lid has got no fairies in it. Mate, I mean, I had a good chat with the Vaping Bogan on Sunday, actually, I think it was, and I showed him the Pandemonium and offered him a mod to review, and he was quite open and honest and says, to be fucking honest with you, mate, if I review one of your mods and it's only 18650, I'm going to downgrade you, mate. So, and I mean, pretty much what he was saying was that he feels in 2018, every mech should be a 21700. Now, my thoughts on that is, when we launched the Emmy, we launched it for a reason, and that was to create one of the smallest 18650 22mm tubes on the market. And so, should everything be 21700? No. Will our new mech be 21700? Yes. And I think that's because that style of mech is something that's designed for low builds, high amperage, high MAR. And we had a very good conversation. He just says, to be honest, Paul, I've seen your mods. I've seen them about. I've even used someone else. He'd had a go on a dirty earlier on in the day that someone had thrust up in his face. And he says they're good. He says, but even if it's perfect, I'll downgrade you for not being 21700. So I showed him the Pandemonium, which is only in 25mm proto, but the finished one will be 28mm 21700. And he genuinely seemed blown away by the engineering in that threadless mod, and said, "You be sure to fucking send me one of these over you can, and I'll fucking review it for you, mate." So I mean, but I mean, you know what, mate? Genuinely, like, when someone of his caliber is, and I know I had a knock at Mr. Vaping Bogan on a previous show about taking a rubber mallet to a Vandy Vape product, or a Voopoo product, actually, to the Voopoo drag, or no, not the Voopoo drag. What was
it? Was
he sent it?
Yeah, it was a drag. He took it to.
Yeah. So, and I was just a bit like, I understand where they're coming from, because I'm not fucking stupid. However, I just think when you've got that big a following, to be doing that sort of madness is.
Yeah, he's definitely, for him to turn round, and as I've already said this previously, for him to turn around and be gobsmacked of what the next mod is very humbling. In the fact that this guy flies around the world.
You know what? He just says that obviously as a reviewer, he sees much of a muchness. He's dropping his own mod, which he's through. Who's he doing his collab with, Kevin? I can't remember.
Sorry, Paul, I didn't quite hear that.
Who is the Vaping Bogan doing his collab with on his mod? It's one of the Chinese companies.
I'm trying to remember now. But
he's basically dropping a 21700 mech, and to be fair, he showed it me, and it is small for a 21700. He believes it's the smallest bottom fire 21700 in the world. But when I showed him the Pandemonium all coming apart, he was like, "Fucking hell, mate, that's fucking clever shit right there, mate." And genuinely, when someone like that can look at something that we've done, and if you've got it in there and it's working, and to give any feedback is positive, is good, even if it's bad feedback, because it means that we've got the opportunity to change something before it goes to market. But yeah, I was dead chuffed about that.
So we've just been informed in the chat group he's working with Vandy Vape.
Yeah, and it might be that Vandy Vape are making that mech for him.
And someone else said it was Claire's dirty and he asked to have a go on it.
Yeah, I knew it was Claire's, and I used the terminology "thrust in his face" quite loosely because I just knew that he'd had a go on a dirty mod.
Well, while you're still
yeah.
in it, we might as well do Paul's status of the fucking week, can't we? So every week, Kevin, as you watch the show, you know what we do every week. Everybody in chat, we do go through Paul's Facebook and find out the status of the fucking week. We obviously did the show last week, and the week previous to that, we didn't do a show. But Paul has been knocking out statuses left, right, and fucking centre this week, and we're only on fucking Wednesday. So I think we're going to be doing a few statuses because in the last 10 hours, Paul's been fucking going ham. But I don't think I like the tent one, Paul, but I don't think I could show the tent.
You like which one? The tent.
The tent one. The tent one got me. But fuck it, I'll show it. It says, by the time she's decided she's had enough random cock in her life and wants to settle down. And then there's a picture of a fucking tent. That one did get me. As I say, the last 10 hours you've been going absolutely fucking ham.
This is what happens when I get bored.
And the next one is there's a lot of you out there that will look fully dressed up for Halloween, just keeping off the Snapchat filters for a day. So for all you people out there that use Snapchat filters for fun, take off and it could be Halloween for a night.
There was genuine inspiration behind that status as well, because I seen someone post a picture without a filter on, and they were fucking rough as arseholes, mate. So there was genuine inspiration for that status right there.
The biggest question I've got for you though: did you stay up last night with a baseball bat?
You know what? I never. You know, we sort of blocked Tasha's car in on the driving mine. My car's fully tracked, so I can start the car from inside the house on the app. I can drop the seats, I can put the heating on, I can see how much fuel I've got in my tank, and I can see where my car's parked. I can lock the doors, open the doors. So I've got that live on my phone. So to be fair, we just moved hers across a little bit, shunted it into the corner, blocked hers in with mine. And I went to bed, to be honest, just on the basis, mate, if they're going to come and take the car, they'll come and take it. The reality is they can take my car if they want to. They just know that it's got standard tracker on it, and it's built into the car. It's not like a tracker that's like, it's not added on, it's not going to be under the mat, it's built into the car somewhere. So they could start mine to move it to get Tasha's if they want it. And on that basis, I'm not stressing over it. I'm not fucking hiding my car keys. I don't want no one flying my door off to get the keys when they're fucking just, if you want the car, take the cunt. It's insured. I've been out today and purchased a steering wheel lock for fucking 150 quid or something. And that's just more a visual deterrent for someone to say, fucking hell, if I take that, it's a pain in the bollocks.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I saw the status last night and I was a bit like, fucking hell, what's going on? So I just wanted to double check that everything was fine. And
yeah, I mean, literally, the only thing that concerned me is the car drove down the road and stopped outside our house because our camera spans quite wide. So it spans quite wide in a fishbowl effect, more so than because it's pointing up the road. So I can't actually see the red. All I could make out on the registration was that it was an 07. And I know it's a 320, but it's a 3 Series BM, probably a 330 Sport, it looked like. But it literally drove down the road and stopped outside my house. It's not like it was just crawling.
We lost Paul again. Oh, he's back.
Someone parked outside the house. And he was actually squat down the side of his missus' car, he was putting cable ties on his wheel trims to stop him pinching the fucking wheel trims. And I got some cunt bowling at me driving a hood to set the fucking whole car. I was like, I need to borrow some of your cable ties to cable tie my car to the fucking drive. But like literally, he was squat down outside my. You can actually see in the picture that I put up of the geezer on the drive trying the door. You can actually see him still squatted down behind his car. The bloke had walked straight past him. Whether the bloke in the car seen him or I don't know, but actually the bloke in the car bibbed, and the kid fucking got off, and the car drove off without the kid run down the road after him. So whether it was because my kids were looking out the window because they heard the fucking car bib, I don't know, because my kids, they sort of pulled up quite quick outside our house. Now whether it was just literally trying doors to see if doors are open or what, I don't know, but on the Range Rover, if it's locked, the mirrors are folded in. So you'd know that the doors were locked or open anyway. So, I don't know, mate. It's what it fucking is, I guess.
Fucking dicks. Well, we've got a couple of minutes left, so I think we should sign off the show for this evening. Everyone that came to Expo came across and said hello. You're very much appreciated. Trust me on that one. Anyone who purchased a product, you're even more appreciated. But let's have a bit of a round off for Expo. So we're definitely got new stuff coming. I say Paul's working very hard in the background. We're working very hard in the background. So keep an eye out on stuff we are doing. And obviously, if anybody's wanting to become a brand ambassador and wants to get behind us sort of educating and moving forward with the industry, bringing back the old sort of ways we used to do things, you know, by all means, let us know. Kevin, if you want to sign out, mate, for this evening, you can do, mate.
I'd just say thanks for coming in and thanks for having me, really.
Oh, you were last minute choice, mate. I had no other choice.
Well, I want to say, as far as Expo is concerned, a genuine thank you to everybody that come over and seen us, even if you didn't buy anything. We went a little bit bigger on the stand. We was 3 meters longer on the stand, and everyone was coming over going, "Fucking hell, mate, why have you gone so big?" It was literally 1 square bigger than what we had in May. And the reason for doing that was just to give us a bigger seating area, because we have lots.
I think we've just lost Paul again.
Even considered having to do that for people coming to sit on our stands, fucking madness, because some stands you can't even sit down on at all. You go and stand up, you get served, you move on. We're actually catering for our following to be able to come. I get people who come every year and just sit on there when they're halfway round, have a little breather and get off again. They've never even bought nothing off us. But the fact that they know they can come and sit down and they're welcome is fantastic. The next thank you goes to Tom for everything he's done leading up to the event and at the event and since the event. And then the final one is a massive thank you to Kevin, who came down on Thursday with Tom and grafted all day Thursday, helping us put all together, all day Friday, Saturday and Sunday, including the takedown, and worked the stands all weekend. So a genuine thank you to Kevin, because it was massively appreciated.
And thank you, thank yourself and Tash for giving us the opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't you, there wouldn't be us. So thank you very much for being yourself and just being you. So that's the end of the show. We're going to be all emotional. We're going to come off camera and we're going to cry.
You are. You're going to cry.
Right, so we're out of here, guys. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and make sure you like and make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and press the bell icon so you know when we go live. Take it easy. Love yous. Peace out.
Peace.